Hey guys, welcome to our first live coaching call for the 21-day challenge. Thanks for everyone joining us live. As always, we'll record it and share it. And so if you didn't catch it live, welcome as well. We have hundreds of people in the challenge, and everyone's kind of in a different spot. You could be on day 5. So today's day 5 for most if you started Monday, but you could have started before, and you could have started today. The challenge can be started at any time. It's a evergreen challenge, but I got my twin sister Kristen in the house, and the big guy just came off a paddle ball this morning, and we wanted to just share our thoughts on the challenge, answer some questions in the Q&A. Put your questions, comments, thoughts. But welcome, guys. What do you want to say about the challenge?
Woohoo!
How's your challenge going?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I've been dialed in. I mean, I started on Monday.
I started Monday.
Yeah, so enough's enough. I just said, okay, I had enough stuff over the holidays, and it was time.
What'd you eat the most of over the holidays?
I think it was just a lot of volume, and then, you go off the rails and don't quite eat stuff that you normally not, what do we have for New Year's Eve?
Beef Wellington.
Beef Wellington, and what else?
Mashed
Lobster
potatoes,
tails.
lobster tail.
And then, which was amazing, but then, you got to have 3 or 4 cookies later, and then, it's just a vicious cycle, so.
Well, and I think the timing is good, too, because you kind of get everything out of your system, and I think a lot of people are just ready to have some sort of focus. You're not giving anything up.
I think that's a good thing, because sometimes you are ready, like if you're, everybody has a flow. You talk a lot about that, but when we have a flow, then it is. I'm like, I've had enough. I'm super motivated. And then it's interesting, we were talking about this yesterday, but just in a matter of 4 or 5 days, what's your energy like, how your elimination is, how your energy is, I mean, the list goes on.
The focus,
so,
and
yeah. And then now you start to feel like you're getting momentum, and you like how you feel, so, yeah.
So I came into this for a couple reasons. One, I think it's good to share what we think you kind of are going through. I think day 4 or 5 becomes, I think, the hardest for the 21 days. I don't know how you feel, because for me, Monday I was ready. It means I went shopping on Sunday. I have recipes for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, approximately a couple flow. Then Thursday I got to go shopping again, maybe Friday this weekend. And so maybe tonight, for some of you, you're out of recipes. That's why we brought Kristen in for our secret recipe ninja. But I think it comes down to the mindset. What's the goal? What are we trying to do? Are we just trying to complete the challenge because we thought it was interesting, or are you trying to complete it to get some results? So how do you guys stay motivated after? What do you think? Do you think yesterday is the hardest day?
Well, I think it's all about momentum. And so for me, whether it's in anything in life, but it's all about, now I've created momentum. And like you said, after a few days, I kind of want to eat like last night. I was like, I'm home, and I'm like, got done eating an amazingly healthy dinner, and I'm like,
Something.
Some extra raisins.
Yeah, so extra raisins and nuts.
He's a rebel. He eats a lot of raisins.
So I decided not just to have a couple of wheatgrass ice cubes, and I've been doing certain things like that. And people
You were
like,
crazy.
But it's that momentum, and then we all have that self-talk, and so now you're having the self-talk that, I don't really need that. I'm fine. So now I'm in the flow. So after, 5 days, I'm completely momentum's.
And you have mom who's a good cook too. Obviously, you're cooking some of the food too, but that helps. It's not just you trying to figure out. So if you're a single parent, live alone, sometimes that food thing can be an issue.
Hard.
So mom's doing Kristen's 3-day smoothie cleanse.
Which ends today. And so yesterday,
I knew this.
Which is inside the 21-day challenge,
Yeah,
even up a notch. Yeah.
So I just got home, and I had organic chicken thighs, and I cooked those up, and some boiled potatoes, and then I made a big salad, and I made
What's
enough.
the private chef think about that meal? What would your clients...
No comment? No. I think I've overdosed on chicken thighs and boiled potatoes and broccoli as a young child. And that's the thing. With this challenge, you don't have to recreate the wheel. Like you said, you're running out of recipe ideas. just do your standard meals. You can do your burgers. You can do your spaghetti and meatballs. You can do tacos. It's just you're upgrading little things. Like we made lamb burgers last night. Instead of a bun, you could do a portobello mushroom cap.
Right.
Or, if you're doing spaghetti, maybe you're doing spaghetti squash or zucchini noodles. So you're not giving anything up. You're just making these little tweaks.
Right.
And I think that's, as long as, and we had some questions about how ideas where we can do quick breakfasts or what can we do for quick lunches. Just have some staples on hand. Maybe you have your oatmeal on the run. You have some cooked oats you make for breakfast. Maybe you always have like PB&J stuff for your kids for lunch, or big salads or Buddha bowls. As long as you have a few go-to meals, you'll never feel like you're running out of ideas,
And it is easy for you. That's what you think about all day and
True.
do. But yeah, I agree. It's about the little upgrades. It's about what you have in your pantry. It's about what you have in your fridge. Because I was feeling the same way yesterday. Holly made this soup. It was like chicken and spinach, and it was amazing. And I had 2 big bowls, but I needed something sweet. Mm-hmm. I saw the wheatgrass in there. Didn't catch my eye,
Really
but I had frozen unsweetened or
cherries
and with some coconut shred on it. And you can the goal is, and you're thinking, well, why would I want to do that when, man, I don't want to eat perfect. I think the key with the 21-day challenge for me, why do I do it? It's not tremendous weight loss. It's not anything profound. It's how I feel. And then I know if I give myself 21 days, it's going to make the rest of the year better. So, sometimes we say it's not a sacrifice. It's a little bit of a sacrifice. I'm not going to drink alcohol. I'm not going to eat pizza. And I like these things. My kids, I gave them some chips yesterday with sandwich I made for them. They look pretty good. Those chips look pretty good. And normally I would have a couple off their plate.
Right.
So it's about giving yourself a little discipline and focus, like that 100% for 21 days.
Yeah, it's just short term.
Like, you eat really good. Most people think your normal diet is really
perfect.
Good. You're excited about the challenge because you know that it can even be better.
Yeah,
and give you that lift of some.
Yeah, so I think sometimes when you say, for me, and I've done this a lot, but I think that sacrifice is really, it creates a muscle. And so the more you do that, the more you realize it's only 21 days.
Right, it's short.
But then you have that muscle that you can turn on whenever, and now
turn off, yeah.
Yeah, and so the next thing you know, that muscle starts to get better, and then you really like how you feel, and that's really the point of the challenge, is just how people feel in their.
So we got a question that came in. Well, let's answer this one live. So Doug's asking. He's doing the challenge, thinking about adding a 3-day juice cleanse. Kristen, you just did this with some of our local clients, a smoothie cleanse. Thoughts? That was his question. And one of his motivations is to weigh under 200 pounds by his birthday, which is mid-May. What are your guys' thoughts on adding maybe a cleanse inside the challenge? Go ahead. You're doing it.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it gives people good focus, and it's so short term that when you're done with something like that, you do feel motivated and you don't want to just blow it. The juice cleanse, you just have to be careful because you aren't having all of the fiber and all the digestive enzymes and all the good stuff that comes with whole foods. So for us, we just did a smoothie cleanse because you're not just drinking a liquid, you're also getting the fiber and the pulp, and it's almost, there's a component, that's more satisfied, and you kind of chew it a little bit. So I think it's way more beneficial to do a smoothie cleanse, and most people have a blender. They don't need a special juicer. In the cookbook, we have a million smoothie recipes.
And you can, if anyone has any questions, you could share.
Yeah, and I'm happy to share our cleanse.
What was your favorite one?
I love the mint chocolate chip smoothie that's in the cookbook.
Yeah. So what was your client's favorite one?
I made a pineapple upside down cake.
What was in that? Tell the listeners what was in that.
So it's frozen pineapple, it's frozen cherries. We threw in some maple syrup,
which is in the challenge.
Some of our superfood smoothie blend. So you got all your
cacao
chia
nibs,
seeds and healthy fats. So every smoothie is designed in a certain way that either it detoxes the body, it energizes the body, maybe it gives you some sort of balance as far as like healthy fats. It's all designed to do something different.
Why did so Doug's question was a 3-day juice cleanse. Why did you do a 3-day smoothie cleanse? You just find that's a good amount of time?
I think it's way more maintainable for people. I've done a juice cleanse and I feel cranky and starving and weak, and it just didn't fit with kind of my lifestyle. And I think a smoothie cleanse, you still can be a little bit active, and I think it's doable for most people.
So talk to the listeners. How many smoothies a day? What were you doing?
So our smoothie cleanse, it started on Wednesday. It's Wednesday through Friday. And at 7 a.m., you start with like a ginger shot. So it just kind of boosts your system. It starts your metabolism out for the day. There's some cayenne pepper, some black pepper, some turmeric. And then after that, at 9 a.m., you have your first smoothie of the day. So every 3 hours, you have a smoothie. So it's 4 smoothies a day, and then you start with this ginger shot juice.
And you do that 3 days.
3 days.
Again, so for the listeners, I didn't do the smoothie cleanse. I have smoothies. Where I'm at, my choice, I came off maybe a little gluttony, and I thought maybe going to the smoothie cleanse or juice too early was it going to be too much. But throughout my 21 days, I actually have days where I might do a juice, like a beet with orange and apple, and not necessarily as a meal replacement, just to really give me some nutrients. And but yeah, I think that can be definitely an option. But if you follow the 21-day challenge without a cleanse, you're still going to reap the benefits. I think the cleanse really can help people stay super focused and eliminate the.
And it's just more short term, of a short term focus. But a lot of people think they need to go on some sort of detox or cleanse. Food will do that. Whole Foods will do that. The 21-day challenge, that's what it does.
Yeah, so Whole Foods can help you detoxify.
Yeah.
I'd
say you don't have to go on a special juice cleanse or smoothie cleanse, but if you did want just that added challenge, that would be.
Yeah, and a smoothie cleanse, again, I'm probably in the same, you probably agree, but juice cleanse, there's probably a different benefit for that, maybe a little bit different. But if you're not wanting to go that severe where maybe you're going to feel a little bit weaker, because you will. You're
not getting all the fiber. You're not getting, more of the calories.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we recommend drinking, make sure you're drinking enough water. But like spirulina, chlorella, wheatgrass, those are all detoxifiers. So if you can get people to, think about that, moving your body, how you breathe, these are all ways the body cleanses itself, and it does it naturally, especially with foods.
Yep.
All right, so you're now a chef with the boiled potatoes and the chicken thighs.
I put some olive oil on too.
Oh, olive oil.
Ooh.
So Bunny's asking, I need family-friendly breakfast ideas and portable lunches, as I have to take my lunch to work every day. I think that's a common question, and I struggle with that too. Rashawn and I went out to lunch today, and I'm on the challenge, so I have to find something that fits in that with a salad because I just didn't have leftovers.
Well, I think the easiest thing for anybody, and again, I'm a broken record here, but the oatmeal on the run is a no-brainer. And the reason being, it's very inexpensive. It's very portable.
How much?
Delicious.
It's
How
delicious.
much?
How much do you think it is? I mean, have we ever broke it down? Is it more?
I
than
think
30,
we have
is
broken
more
it
than
down
30
before.
Cents?
Yeah, it's more than 30 cents. It's about 60 cents a day.
60 cents a day.
Yeah, because I make it for groups of 30, and it's like.
But if you made it for probably a week, it'd even bring the cost down more.
Yeah, but you don't want to wait for a week. But if you make that oatmeal on the run like every day, like Rashawn will tell you, like I try to mix it up for him, and he's going, in fact, one day he says, do you have any more of that?
Rashawn's a good eater. We like him.
He's a fitness burning machine. But anyway, that is such an easy thing. So when we bring groups in here, and I should make the oatmeal for my clients and small groups, they all say the same thing. This tastes amazing. So when you let the fruit sit overnight, and you got the kids will love it. Everybody likes it. Now I got high magnesium. I have good fiber. Doesn't cost, and it's so easy to make.
Well, and you can recreate it. So that's the thing. You take these things and you have a repertoire of certain recipes. Maybe you're doing oatmeal on the go with rolled oats. Maybe the next day you're doing it with steel cut oats.
Or you're changing,
the
like
nuts.
I just changed the nuts, I changed the fruit.
So
it's
for
easy
the
to do.
listeners, and some of we have a lot of new people in the community, maybe not even exposed to On Target Living. Part of the challenge is you get the digital copy of the Target to Table, which the oatmeal on the run recipe. When did you first come out with that? When was your sophisticated brain figuring that out?
Well, I was reading a book written by a doctor or woman in Europe, and she was talking about they would make this like this morning breakfast.
Muesli or something.
Yeah, and it was for cancer, and it was Ludwig was her name, and she was a cancer research scientist, and I was looking at the concoction of it, and it was basically, muesli and whatever, and I thought, wow, that's interesting. It's not cooked. I thought, because I love oatmeal. I've always liked oatmeal, but I'm like, in the morning, we're training, we're going in early, and it's like a pain in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, let's try to do that, and then you start doing it, and then you get better at it, and then the only recipe I get credit for in the cookbook is oatmeal on the
You kind
run.
of get like half credit for it.
Yeah, half credit.
You were way ahead of the game,
but any
too.
monkey can make that, so it's an easy thing.
So 1990?
Yeah, probably 1990. Yeah,
So 1990 comes out with this amazing oatmeal on the run, and I remember I was at a basketball game sitting next to him, and some fan or somebody that's followed it came by and said, "I love your oatmeal," and I'm thinking, it's oats in a container. What are you
Sitting
talking
overnight,
about?
yeah.
But so oatmeal on the run is one of the signature things we teach. Rolled oats, some type of plant-based milk. You soak it overnight. You can put nuts. You can put fruit. You can put healthy fats. What's your favorite oatmeal on the
So
run?
let me just say one last thing. So we're coming back from up north last weekend. We don't have any milk, and so Mom just made it with water. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I
Or
thought to
coconut
myself,
water or something.
It was just
Oh,
regular water.
nice.
So I was like, oh, this is gonna. I'm like a shark. I don't care what it tastes like, but I like, oh, this is good. And she goes, yeah, it's pretty good, isn't
So
it?
did she make it or did you make it?
She made it.
Oh, so you can't take credit for that either.
I can't take no credit. She made it.
So
And
she's got some tips.
She's
may not
got
have
skills.
shared.
yeah, she did probably sure.
All right,
she
so
did it.
what's your favorite oatmeal on the run?
Rolled oats, cinnamon, raisins, walnuts, cacao, almond milk.
Okay, that's your favorite. What's yours?
Pretty much the same thing, but I'll add shredded coconut and then frozen fruit. So dark frozen cherries.
Yeah, that's a very unique one. We've had some soup wearing people come in here that are used to like a nice breakfast. Like I'm gonna have cold oatmeal, and they've been
like it.
pleasantly surprised. I
Yeah,
like
but
that one.
sometimes it'll say that. I think Rashawn felt the same way. With a frozen, and then I like today and yesterday or the day before I made it with strawberries, and that's phenomenal.
Strawberry,
So strawberries and dark frozen cherries are my two favorite.
My favorite is cut up apples, peanut butter, a little bit of raisins, and then the same concoction. But I do mix it up with bananas instead of apples. Just raisins and the other stuff.
And you just stir in the peanut butter?
The peanut butter to me is like one of my, I don't know, I love any smoothie with
good.
peanut butter. Anyone that follows us that has the
but I think the
bars
bottom line
with
in all
peanut
this, what
butter.
we're sharing is that you can make it 900
You can
different
make it
ways.
yeah.
But
And
back to Bonnie's question, the cookbook and the e-cookbook they get with the challenge, that is all of everything that you need.
So talk little bit about travel lunches, because that could be. Rashawn and I were talking at lunch. Rashawn has to heat up his food. I don't have to heat up my food. You don't have to heat up your food. I think you.
I like it fresh.
Yeah, she's like.
I like
she's
it plated and fresh.
She's a chef, so she's gonna. What are some travel ideas for lunches? I think that can be a troublesome meal, especially if you're working.
I have a few go-tos. So I like PB&Js. There's nothing wrong with that if you get a good sprouted bread or good jelly, good peanut butter,
Or,
cashew butter,
Coconut wraps or something.
coconut wrap, some healthy wrap or sourdough bread. Buddha bowls are really good to take on the go. So basically you just cook a grain like a farro or quinoa, and then you top it with roasted vegetables or olives or nuts, some sort of sauce. You can also I always have a really good quality pesto in my fridge, and then I have pasta, like a good organic pasta. So I do a lot of pesto pasta, maybe throw some.
What about
Feta.
the dressing for your Buddha bowl?
The dressing, my favorite dressing for Buddha bowls is a tahini. It's
Is it-
tahini, maple syrup,
Is it
lemon.
following the challenge?
Oh yeah, it's all challenge.
So this dressing is incredible, and it can go on anything.
Yeah, I put it on everything.
Just the spoon is good enough.
You can put it on like Brussels kale salad with that dressing.
So what's the dressing?
So it's maple syrup, it's tahini, which is sesame seed paste, lemon juice, sesame oil, a little bit of water, and salt.
Yeah, it's incredible. So Buddha bowl, leftovers are always, for me, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to make dinner, but let's make enough so that I
Yeah.
can use it the next day. That's probably the easiest option.
Egg salad, tuna salad. I mean, just simple stuff, I'd say.
I like to have salad for lunch. Again, I think it's it can be the hardest, or it can be the meal where you look at it and say, I want to make this one the healthiest to feel really good throughout the day, so that my dinner's better, that my work
Right.
day's better, that I come home with energy.
And depending on the pace of your day, it might be you look at a smoothie. That's not going to be obviously heated, but you know, I look at that. Depending on my day, how busy it is, I might bring a smoothie for lunch if I don't have leftovers or whatever.
Or, you know, a whole food bar. That's why we came
Yeah.
out with the OTL bars, because
Sometimes I have those, yeah.
you know, then that's a dense bar. We're kind of working on the marketing of it, and I want to tell people it's the most calorie dense bar, because it is. So you can get food in multiple different ways.
Or even like canned soup. If you look at the ingredients, like I just had Amy's golden lentil. It's challenge friendly and it's delicious. You know, like there's certain things that are easy and healthy too.
And you're just buying upgrades. So your
Yeah.
favorite handout is a
Yep.
good handout to look at if you want to upgrade some of these simple things.
Bunny also asked, is breakfast still considered the most important meal of the day? I mean, this is under attack with everybody doing the intermittent fasting, but I still look at it as scientifically, I still think it is the most important meal of the day. From a behavior standpoint, that's why I think it's the most important meal of the day. What do you think?
Well, I think we just did a podcast that will roll out next week, Seasons of Life, and you know, the season in the morning is really where we want to have, you know, we kind of set up the day. So that's where the wheatgrass comes in, the cod liver oil, and then the oatmeal and the run. So to me, the morning has always been, because again, if we're talking about good gut health, and you're starting to take some of these things out of your diet, you're not going to miss
You
that.
eat a little later than you used to, right?
Yeah, I'm eating a little bit later. So normally I'm eating breakfast around 9:30.
And why do you do that?
Just because in the morning I'm usually training or doing some activity. Like this morning I played paddleball, and then by the time I get into paddleball, it's 9 o'clock. So, but I'm always doing my wheatgrass and my cod liver oil in the morning, but I'm eating just a little later, so it gives me that 12 to 14 hour fasting time.
So, yeah. So, what do you think about fasting?
I think it's essential.
What do you think about the intermittent 16-hour?
Well, you know, number one is you always got to step back. Why do people fast? So from a health standpoint, it allows the body to, you know, cleanse itself, detoxify itself, and repair. And so that's the big deal about, you know, fasting from a health standpoint. But, you know, when you start getting 12 to 14 hours, ideally I try to go 14 hours. But once you start going farther than that, your time of eating shrinks, and now you're starting to be nutrient deficient.
And for everyone listening, wouldn't you say there's days that you are more hungry in the morning and days that you're not? And should you listen to that?
For sure.
Now, what about somebody that has such a rigid schedule that if they get out of that, then they're kind of, maybe they miss their window. Like they got to commute. They got to drop off the kids. They're already into the office.
Well, I think Kristen's always saying this her whole career is that it's all about a flow and listening to the body. And that's what we try to teach. We try to teach, like, just listen. If you're hungry, you need to eat. But then you also need to step back on my board. There's a lot of factors that go on. But to me, yeah, you want to create some routines, but also you have the flexibility to vary from those routines.
Another question came in from Bob here. I didn't see hummus on the food chart. What are your thoughts about store-bought hummus? So probably not hummus in the food chart because it's, you know, chickpeas, lemon juice, tahini, other ingredients, but all those are inside the target for the most part. Store-bought, what do you think? You know,
Just making sure you're looking at the ingredients.
what are some
and
ingredients they should look out for?
like
that-
processed oils, like corn oil or safflower
so
oil.
vegetable oils that they're adding because they're cheaper.
Yeah, look for extra virgin olive oil. Look for sesame seed paste or tahini or lemon juice. If you can get like Whole Foods has a really good fresh hummus that's in the refrigerator section.
That's key too, refrigerated section.
Yeah, and there's no preservatives in it, so it won't last, you know, weeks in your fridge. It'll last a few days. So you can make your own. A lot of people get confused on the challenge because you may buy something in a package or a box that can be challenge friendly if all the ingredients fit in the target. So hummus, I mean, everything in.
There's so many more options than ever before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find better options of any type of food these
Yeah,
days.
I'm eating hummus pretty regularly on the challenge. I think that's one of the things that I do include. Everyone's challenge is their own. You know, coffee isn't necessarily included, but it could be if that's a choice that you're trying to make. You know, for me, one of the things I allow in is ketchup. I need ketchup, but it's really healthier ketchup. And
So
you know,
again, so the ingredients you're talking about, if you can't, pronounce them or
Right.
understand them, we're not putting that in the body.
yeah, our challenge is a guide, and it's a very structured guide in a sense of like eat these foods, but you got to kind of find it and make it your own. If you
Some
do.
people wouldn't go on the challenge if that meant giving up coffee. So it is just all about, how you want to
would
challenge
you?
yourself. Yeah, I give it up.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it's all or
Well,
nothing.
Steve asked me this morning. I was working with him and his
Steve
wife.
is former CEO of a coffee company.
Yeah, and
FYI.
so Steve said, "Can I have coffee?" And I'm like, "It's up to you." And he goes, "But challenge says no." I said, "Well, that's what's on the challenge." So he said no. And he had his like a little sip. So he really is compromised in that, and
Yeah,
and he's kind of excited about that he can do
yeah,
it.
right. You're proud of yourself. I mean, once you get in that flow and you're over that hump, then it's
And
okay.
it does. And you said this many times, and Matt said it, that you start recognizing that awareness that maybe I drink more coffee than I should, because if I don't drink enough, I get a little bit jittery or whatever it might be. But
If you need it for energy first thing in the morning, then you need to. There's some other things you need to
Right.
look at.
Create
I
that
like
awareness.
it because I enjoy it. I don't
Yeah.
need it for energy necessarily.
it's not like a bad thing at all. We're just trying to create that awareness. So
But the challenge also is about pH balance too. So you're eating more alkalizing foods, coffee and these acidic beverages. It's not going to help with your overall health or lowering inflammation, which is what a lot of people want.
So as we kind of wrap up our thoughts, I'll throw it to the listeners to ask any questions in the Q&A box or the chat box. But what are some other thoughts you want? If most people are in day 5, could be day 1, could be day 7, could be day 20. I mean, the challenge could sign up at any time. But what do you want them to think about as they're moving into maybe the second week of the challenge?
That you don't have to give anything up, honestly. I mean, there are so many healthier ways of cooking food.
But you have to be curious, right?
You just have to read and you have to pay attention and you have to have that awareness around, what you're eating, because really everything can fit in the challenge. There is nothing that's off limits for the most part. I mean, if you want more of a sweet treat, you're looking at more natural sweeteners. Maybe you are using raw honey or maple syrup or,
you're just getting closer to the source.
What about you? Any thoughts on what going into week 2?
I think the biggest thing we try to do with the challenge is you're trying to teach people how to eat, that works for them. And so it's a learning process. And so you want to pivot, you want to make mistakes, you want to do all these things. And so now, you're not on a diet. You now have the skills to kind of pick and choose how what level you want to take it. She just mentioned about being focused and attention. This is really, to me, it's an intentional way to eat. So now for 21 days, I'm going to be really intentional about what I'm putting in my body. Yeah. And that's a skill that you're going to have forever. And then as time goes on, you're going to get better and better and design it the way you like it and the way it works for you.
Two good questions just came in, and keep the questions going. We'll answer questions as long as we need to. But Doug asked best foods for lowering cholesterol. We've had many podcasts on this, but what are a couple foods? Somebody gets in the challenge, they're trying to improve cholesterol, but what are some keys for improving?
Step one, again, without spending all day on this, but step one is understanding that cholesterol is a good thing. So cholesterol makes hormones, helps your brain. So I got to change the mindset. I don't want to necessarily lower cholesterol. I want to have my cholesterol in balance, and that it's a good thing. To help your cholesterol get better in balance, the biggest thing that's going to do that is omega-3 fats. That's going to be the cod liver oil, the flax, the chia, the walnuts, things like that. And then the oatmeal, and you hear that a lot. I mean, they even advertise that Cheerios helps to improve cholesterol profile.
So real grains, so not Cheerios,
yeah.
but
and
real
again,
grains.
back to when we start eating better, the body will get back into balance. And so cholesterol, what it does, the main thing, it helps to heal the body. So when the body is in a better position to heal itself, then cholesterol gets back into balance.
Lowers inflammation, so LDL increases inflammation because that's what it's trying to do.
And one of the last things about cholesterol, and if anybody's out there listening, one of the greatest indicators of risk factors is your triglyceride to HDL ratio. So if you have a triglyceride level of 100 and an HDL level of 100, then you have a ratio 1. So ideally, if you can get that number less than 1.5 or less, then that's a great number.
So that'd be like a 50 HDL with 100 triglyceride. Good
Correct.
spot.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, good question there. Bridget asks, cost is a big problem. Do you need to buy organic? Also, right now, everything is so expensive. We feel that, especially vegetables. I have a lot of whey protein. Is that okay? Where can I get some of these ingredients? I would have to really buy just about everything to get started. Help. Okay, good question. I guess for me, food is much more expensive than ever before. I think that's where I've seen the inflation tackle. But whole foods, I still believe, are fairly reasonable in comparison. But if you're buying it always organic, and Kristen's, one of her first jobs after becoming a registered dietitian was for a supermarket, and that's all they did sell was organic vegetables and fruits. So what are your thoughts on cost? Someone's on the challenge. Cost is maybe an issue. What do you think?
I think first and foremost, it's not too expensive to eat healthy. It's too expensive to get sick. And we're finding ways to spend our money on other things, so it just is a priority thing. But really, if you're buying healthier foods, for the most part, it's only going to cost you $1.50 more a day. It's very minimal. So again, if you're buying whole foods, if you're buying peanut butter, if you're buying, rolled oats, all these things are very inexpensive. And most of the time what we're eating, we eat meats and whatnot, but for the most part, we eat plant-based. We eat bootables. We eat a lot of grains that have protein. And then maybe we're doing lean meats or fish. It's not going to cost you that much. And I think, even Aldi's, even all these affordable grocery stores, they have organic options. And if you...
Some fruits and vegetables...
You don't need to buy organic. I think the first place to start is animal products. Try to do those organic, and then any produce items where you eat the skin. And for me, because I have young kids at home, I am still buying packaged box foods. I always do organic. So organic mac and cheese, organic Cheetos, organic peanut butter.
Yeah, I see us spending the most amount of money on the things you don't need. Yeah.
And there's no such thing as kid foods,
I don't know
really.
about you, but if I bought a bag of chips, could be cheap, could be more expensive. Chips are going to be eaten pretty quick versus I'll buy a bushel of apples, cost $5, and it's more expensive than it used to be, but that's going to last me for a week.
Yeah, and I think that some of the stuff, if you buy a tomato, there's no profit in a tomato. But as soon as you break it down into ketchup and salsa, the price keeps going up. So if we, back to what you both said, if we go back to fundamentals, foundational foods, in your house, do you have potatoes and apples and bananas and rolled oats and things like that, nuts, and these are not expensive foods. And if you can build your foundation there, what costs is the box cereal. It's it's all the processed stuff.
And the really
Processed
cheap
product.
food, I don't know how they get away with calling it food.
Yeah, so again, the nutrient value, if you're buying, let's say some fast food burger or a breakfast sandwich, there's nothing that's cheaper. And then when you look at like some of the things we promote, like superfoods, spirulina chlorella and cod liver oil is not expensive. Those two, and they're two powerful superfoods. So you don't have to spend
our
a lot
other
of
thing
time.
is where do you go? There's many grocery stores.
Grocery store has.
Obviously some of the superfoods we talk about, we've sourced them and found them and try to give people the most cost-effective price. The last question was whey protein.
No.
So other than saying no, for Bridget may be new to the challenge. What do you why no? What's whey protein? And we just came out with, if you put flaxseed, chia seeds, hemp seeds in a smoothie, it costs like 60 cents versus about $1.30 a scoop of whey. So help with that question.
For a long time, we have a blood test. So for those listeners, viewers out there, we have it's on our website. It's called, under the downloads, it's called Know Your Numbers. Highly recommend. You print it out, you give it to your doctor. But one of the numbers at the very bottom is called glomerular filtration rate. It's a kidney function, GFR. And when people start doing a lot of these things, I'm seeing GFR levels lower than I've ever seen them.
So if you're doing a protein powder, which is processed,
if you're doing a protein powder with an isolate, it puts weight. It's like putting sand in a radiator. It's very tough on the kidneys. And so that's why we came up with a smoothie blend. So there's no reason you need to do a protein powder. And all it does is going to put pressure in your. So back to the question, if I want to add more protein, how do I get that? We use the smoothie blend, or you can add some nuts or seeds. There's lots of ways to do that.
And follow up on that question, why can't you use frozen vegetables? You can use frozen vegetables. Can use frozen fruit. I actually highly recommend it. I take my bananas that are going bad. I don't like bananas that are too ripe, but I do like them frozen, so I put them in the freezer. But I do frozen broccoli. It's so easy.
Spinach is easy. You can
and
add
same
that
with
to a smoothie.
almond milk. I don't make homemade almond milk just for sake of time, but you can buy it. It is better and it is healthier. You make it yourself, but you don't.
And
have
you
to.
have the nut milk maker. It's very inexpensive. So, again, I think sometimes food can be expensive, but if you start doing the basics, you can do that. And then back to the protein powders. There's lots of other ways to get healthier protein in the body than taking a protein powder or isolate.
All right, last
One thing I was going to say, and I think sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, sometimes you don't realize what you're spending your money on. I had a consult with a woman yesterday. She's spending $1,200 a month on calcium injections. And we could just do wheatgrass. And you can get all your calcium from just 2 cubes of wheatgrass. So there's just things like that where I think we don't realize what we're spending our money on, and food will always be the cheapest.
So the last question that was up there was about, and you went into that. So let me just look up there. It was a good question. Oh, I think this is a good way to wrap up. As many people, not everyone on this call, because everyone's following the challenge. New Year, and maybe they cut out sugar. So the question is, what about sugar and fruit? So let's just kind of wrap up. Why did we create this challenge? And this challenge just wasn't created out of thin air. It was 35 years of working with people using the food target and then saying, okay, how do we create a focus plan? And we've been tweaking it for about 10 years. But for this question, we got to answer the question, why is everyone so scared of sugar? And even if it's in something like fruit, and what's the mindset we want everyone to kind of take away?
You want to go first?
It might take him a while, so go ahead.
There's nothing wrong with fruit. We need sugar. Carbohydrates are sugar. When you're eating whole foods and whole fruits, you are getting the fiber. You're getting all the benefits. You're getting all the digestive enzymes. That is not our problem. I think when people think about what is making us fat, that is not it. So let's step back. Let's use our common sense. Sugar in a bag, cane sugar, is not the same as eating an apple. We're definitely not going to overconsume apples. We know all the benefits that come with it. Really good for digestion. We have to understand that when things are in their natural state, nothing is off limits.
It's kind of like, so another example is there is cholesterol in food, but it doesn't have an impact really on your cholesterol level. There is sugar in food, doesn't always have an impact like many people think on your sugar in the body. Now, there's some foods that are higher glycemic but if it's whole foods, which if you're following the challenge is going to be likely that you're eating sugar from whole foods, that's one less thing to worry about. And so the question going into the new year is get all these diets, keto diet, paleo diet, South Beach, no sugar, no grains. I mean, they're crazy and they're wild. We want people to really start to eat foods, focus on the foods that they should eat versus worrying about the foods you shouldn't eat. So a can of Pringles, added sugar, a potato that you chop up, put olive oil on, cook in the oven, has sugar too, but it's going to be processed different.
One of the things you always say too, if you can't feed it to your 3-year-old, you probably...
Not good.
So would you give a 3-year-old fruit? And the answer would be, of course.
You're trying to get them to eat fruit, yeah.
Right. And so the benefit of fruit, it's very alkalizing. It's very detoxifying. It's great for your gut health. It's sweet. It's
not overdoing it.
You're not overdoing it. I never overeat apples, but I guarantee I overate, some of the cookies that Holly made. So those are things that you think about over time. We got to get out of the mindset that carbohydrates are, back to the source, are essential for optimal health. And with all the mental health we've been facing in the last handful of years, if you start taking these healthy carbohydrates out of the body, you're not going to have a healthy gut and a healthy mind.
Well, and I don't think anyone wants to go on a diet every single year. Like, I know we have so many family members that have done certain diets, over 5 times. Clearly, they're not working. even after the 5th time. So I think instead of starting and stopping a new plan, you have this lifestyle that you can get into this rhythm and this routine. You're not giving anything up. You have this awareness. You know how to pivot when you need to. And you can truly have it all.
You can have a glass of wine, you can have a pizza, you can have everything. You just can't have it right on the challenge, right?
Well,
Right.
as we wrap up, thank you for joining. Thank you for participating. We really believe that this challenge can be a springboard for anybody. And you can do this any time of the year, as many times throughout the year. And we're here just as a guide. I think there's recipes, there's tips, there's tricks that we'd love to hear from you that are working that maybe we haven't thought about. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for you two for joining me. Rashawn, thanks for keeping everything smooth on the back end. And we'll see you maybe next week for another live pop-in. But if you have any questions, you can shoot us an email, info@ontargetliving.com. Call us. We're humans. We'll answer the phone. We'll answer the email. If you live local in Michigan or want to come see us, we're actually here doing work. So good luck on your challenge, wherever you're at. I'm on day 5. I got to go to the store, figure out a couple things for the weekend. But I like how I feel. I think you probably are starting to feel good. And just remember, if you give yourself 21 days, you probably will start to feel how you're meant to feel. All right, we'll see you again next time. And again, we're here to help.